Islam, Islam, Islam. Happy holy day for all Muslims all over the world. How's my family? Greetings, greetings, greetings. Peace, peace, peace. Hotep, hotep, hotep. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Alafia, 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 alafia. Power to the people, power to the people, power to the people. Que pasa, que pasa, que pasa. God bless, God bless, God bless. Grand rising, grand rising, grand rising. Happy holy day, family. Day Friday holy day. I'm gonna do Friday holy day service. Put my eyes on. Extra prayer. Well, stood out with Moorish American prayer. Five fingers on the left, two on the right. Excuse me, hold on for a minute. Look like I'm having some difficulties over here. Let me look into there. Okay, I see what happened. Okay, I won't do it that then. Okay, yeah. Five fingers on the left, two on the right, feet at a 45-degree angle, heels touching. Repeat the Moorish American prayer to myself. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through His holy prophet, Drew Ali, Ameen, Islam. I rise once again on this Friday holy day for all Muslims all over the world, giving praise to Allah, the author, the creator, governor of the world, almighty, eternal, and incomprehensible. Allah be His sweet, sweet, sweet name. I give honors, highest honors, to His most loved thought prophet, Noble Drew Ali, for bringing us our nationality and our divine creed in hopes that we may return back. We done lost our way. Our ancestors lost their way. So if our ancestors lost their way and they hadn't been found, what does that mean? You're in a lost state, born in a lost state. So in hopes that we may return back to the state of mind of our ancient forefathers, who stood strongly, faithfully, with commitment on the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. I give honors to His forerunner. Excuse me. Let me continue. I give honors to the forerunner of the prophet, Brother Marcus Mosiah Garvey, who's known for saying, "Up, up, you mighty race. Up, up, you mighty race. Up, up, you mighty race." and accomplish what you will. I said it so many times, like I remember how it flowed. Up, Martin Garth is known for saying, up, you mighty race. Look, so I didn't put too much emphasis on it. I'll come back to that later and try to figure that out. The message, you have a will. That means you are powerful. You're powerful. But you need more than a will. You need a heart. You got to have heart. Can't be no coward. You know what I'm saying? You got to be courageous. You got to be able to stand. You got to be able to make a stand. You know how they say, a man that don't stand for something will fall for anything? A man that don't stand for something will fall for anything. And we've been falling for anything for a long time. Nobody wants to face it. Not for real, for real. Acknowledge it, but not to the point where it brings about a change. It brings about transformation. It brings about a difference. Emphasizing on that will. I give honors to the past leaders of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Brother Melia, Brother Small Bay, Brother Lovett Bay. Let me say it again. Brother Melia, Brother Small Bay, Brother Foreman Bay, and Brother Lovett Bay. For their great works. Great works. So there's still a great foundation that we've been building from. You know what I'm saying? You know, some been building from the era. You know, a lot of us come from that era. You know, where it went left. You know, and things were hidden. Truths wasn't being told. But they're out. You know what I'm saying? And that's why we free. Because that's what the truth does. It sets you free. But you got to have courage for the truth. Courage. Because the truth got a lot of power. You got to be prepared for it. You know, you got to be ready. You got to prep yourself. You got to make up your mind. I give honors to Moors here, there, and everywhere for their great works in assisting in this gigantic mission, the uplifting of fallen humanity, the uplifting of ourselves, back to power. Back to power. What do you think you was uplifting to? You know? Yeah, you uplift within yourself first. Self-value, self-love, self-independence, you know, self-everything. Because that's what you're missing more than anything. Because you've been looking outside yourself all this time and you ain't satisfied and you ain't gonna never be satisfied until you turn within. I give honors what honors is due. Islam. At this time, I'm going to read from Salvation of Law Unity, the Moorish Science Temple of America, the Divine Constitution, and Bylaws. I'm going to begin with Act 1. Excuse me. Man, it's delicious. I ain't had none of that in a while. Act 1. The Grand Sheikh and the Chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly, according to the Circle 7, in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Fridays are holy day of rest, because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh, and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and parcel of the government, and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. Ooh, wee! Man, for the first time, it hit me so clearly what that meant. You know what I'm saying? You obeying, I ain't gonna get back to you. Man, I ain't gonna give it like that. Man, it took me years for that to come to me, you know, and I got to appreciate it. I got to value it, so I'm gonna keep it to myself for a while. Yes, that is a jewel for me. I'm always giving my jewels out. You know, it's time for me to hold on to one. Islam, Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted into 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites, whom inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and a parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you're entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet Noble Drew Ali through the guidance of his Father God Allah. Prophet Noble Drew Ali found. At this time, family, it's customary before demonstrating before a body of Moors one reads from I think it's Quran. It starts out Quran questions for Moorish children. Questionnaire and additional laws for the Moorish Americans by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Well, Dave, where did I get where I just said from? Additional Act 1, fam. Grand Sheikhs and governors and heads of all temples, all businesses. Each said temple must be approved by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Before acting upon by any members, let it be finance, property, or any line of life that would cause members to sacrifice finance, etc., that would cause the support of any group of members. Any former officer that violates these laws is subject to be removed from his office under heavy restriction, etc., by the prophet or the grand chief. Additional Act 2. All members are to attend their adopt meetings and their public meetings promptly. If a member is found standing around on their meeting period, shall be fined 50 cents on the first case, and on the second he will be fined $1, which will go on your mercy fund. If a member is working, his monthly dues must be paid, and if he has money in the bank, he must subscribe for as much as he is able to the Moorish Uplifting Fund, because it takes finance to uplift a nation. Additional Act 3. It is lawful and divine duty of every good member, if he is able in finance, to aid men saving the nation, and if he does not, he is an enemy to the cause of uplifting his own people, and justice must catch you. Let it be he or she according to love, true peace, freedom, and justice, as I have the power invested in my hands, and I will have to enforce the law in order to save the nation. Additional Act 4. All members while making a public speech must not use any assertion against the American flag or speak radical against the church or any member of any organized group, because we have to teach love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Additional Act 5. All members must promptly attend their meetings and send their children to Sunday school, and the teacher must confirm himself to the questionnaire, and let every member exercise his 5 senses who is able to do so, because after your Sunday school comes the gatherings of the nation. Additional Act 6. Additional Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and partial of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slave holders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a newer time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Jew Ali the Prophet to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Additional Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and a partial of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you're entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. Become part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet Noble Jew Ali through the guidance of his father God Allah. Family, there has been a reading from the additional laws. It's also customary before demonstrating for a body of Moors that one reads from the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, divinely prepared by the noble prophet Jew Ali, by the guiding of his father God Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from his sinful and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane of life with his father God Allah. Alright, fam. Let's go in here and see. Ooh, wee, look at that. Let me give this to y'all. Okay. Alright. I don't know if I read this last creation. The 7 days in the creation. So every 7 days it's a creation. So instead of saying last week, because I wasn't weak last week, I was strong. You know what I'm saying? So last creation, I think I read from this, but I think it's meant for me to read from this again, and maybe something else. I don't know. When that time comes, I will decide. Until then, right now, I think this is exactly where I need to be. All right, fam. Chapter 18, the resurrection of Jesus. Pilate places the Roman seal upon the stone door of the tomb. At midnight, a company of the Silent Brotherhood marched about the tomb. The soldiers are alarmed. Jesus preaches to the spirits in prison. Early Sunday morning, he rises from the tomb. The soldiers are bribed by the priest to say that the disciples stole the body, when he really didn't. Disciples didn't steal the body. Somebody always lying, trying to cover up something. And we got to be intelligent enough to not to go for the lie. You know, it's a new day and time. We have to mature. We have to elevate. We can't keep being gullible and vulnerable. You know, it's time to educate, self-educate. I ain't talking about day schools. I'm talking about knowledge of self, knowledge of who you are. Because without knowledge of self, you're going to pretend to be like who? The Caucasians, the so-called white people. You know what I'm saying? When they're not even that. You know what I'm saying? You know, because we allow them to govern us for far too long, unconsciously, not understanding our power. You know what I'm saying? Because when you got power, you can easily give that power away as if you never had no power from the jump. Okay? Keep that in mind. You know, you got a lot of power. I told you, you are very valuable. You know what I'm saying? And you're valuable because people have value in you. They have a great interest in you. You know what I'm saying? To where their life depends on it. Their interest in you, their life depends on. Their survival depends on. Their existence depends on. You know, their livelihood consists on it. And they've been being consistent on us for a long time, and we got to kick them off our backs. Man, get off of me. You can't ride me no more. You know what I'm saying? Got my power back. I know who I am. You know, can't play me. Can't trick me. Can't deceive me. You can't lie to me because I see straight through you. Why? Because I'm intelligent now. I begin to read. And through reading, I learn. And through learning, the light come on. You know what I'm saying? And that wisdom reigns. And that power resides within you. Because you are now ruling over your kingdom. Okay? And that's the greatest power you can have. And don't belittle it based on your interpretation of it. Because it means a lot more than my words can express. Okay? For those that don't really feel me. Okay. Okay, I just read the title. And did I finish the title? Yeah, okay, yeah, I finished the title. Now I'm going to read the body. Alright. Let me start from here. Okay, let me give you a little bit of story, because I can't seem to find a flow to start where I'm trying to start, so I gotta go where it flows better. Okay, because wherever it's a flow better, then it's gonna resonate better for you. Okay, because I'm in tune with you. Okay, let's start at the top of the page. I got to looking over here and see some juice. All right, I gotta read this. I gotta read it. I gotta give y'all this. Okay. Y'all gonna have me read this whole chapter, but it ain't gonna be sad. Ooh, wait, watch. They took my color. Why they keep doing that to my screen? Get my color back. Let's do it like this. That helped a little bit. They took my color. Okay, I just read the title, so I'm start with 1. The tomb in which they laid the body of the Lord was in a garden, rich with flowers, the garden of Salome. And Joseph's home was near. Before the watch began, I'm unable at the moment to pronounce this. It's Caiaphas. Okay? Sent a company of priests out to the garden of Salome that they might be assured that Jesus' body was within the tomb. They rolled away the stone. They saw the body there. And then they placed the stone again before the door. And Pilate sent his scribe, who placed upon the stone the seal of Rome, in such a way that he who moved it would break the seal. Because, it's fragile, To break this Roman seal meant death to him who broke the seal. Okay? The Jewish soldiers all were sworn to faithfulness. And then the watch began. At midnight all was well, but suddenly the tomb became a blaze of light, and down the garden walked a troop of white-clad soldiers, marked in single file. They came upon the tomb and marched and countermarched before the door. The Jewish soldiers were alert. They thought his friends had come to steal the body of the Nazarene. The captain of the guard cried out to charge. They charged, but not a white-clad soldier fell. They did not even stop. They marched and countermarched among the frightened men. They stood upon the Roman seal. They did not speak. They unsheathed not their swords. It was the silent brotherhood. They stood upon the Roman seal. They did not speak. They unsheathed not their swords. It was the silent brotherhood. The Jewish soldiers fled in fear. They fell upon the ground. They stood apart until the white-clad soldiers marched away. And then the light about the tomb grew dim. Then they returned. The stone was in its place. The seal was not disturbed. And they resumed their march. Hold on. They resumed their watch, not their march. Now Jesus did not sleep within the tomb. The body is manifest of soul, but soul without is manifest. And in the realm of soul, unmanifest, the Lord went forth and taught. He opened up the prison's door and set the prisoners free. He broke the chains of captive souls and led the captives to the light. He sat in councils with the patriarchs and prophets of olden times. The masters of all times and clans he met, and in the great assemblies he stood forth and told the story of his life on earth and of his death in sacrifice for man, and his promise to clothe himself again in garb of flesh and walk with his disciples, just to prove the possibilities of man, to give to them the key of life, of death, and of the resurrection of the dead. In council, all the masters sat and talked about the revelations of the coming age. when she, the holy breath, shall fill the earth and air with holy breath, and open up the way of man to perfectness and endless life. The garden of Shalom was silent on the Sabbath day. The Jewish soldiers watched, and no one else approached the tomb. But on the following night, the scene was changed. At midnight, every Jewish soldier heard a voice which said, Adon Manish Kuma, which meant, Lord Jesus, arise. And they supposed again the friends of Jesus were alert, were coming up to take the body of the Lord away. The soldiers were alert with swords unsheathed and drawn, and then they heard the words again. It seemed as though the voice was everywhere, and yet they saw no man. The soldiers blanched with fear, and still to flee meant death or cowardice. And so they stood and watched. Again, this was just before the sun arose. The heavens blazed with light. A distant thunder seemed to hurl forth a coming storm. And then the earth began to quake. And in the rays of light they saw a form descend from heaven. They said, Behold, an angel comes. And then they heard again, Adon Manish Kuma. And then the white robed form tramped on the Roman seal, and then they tore it into shreds. He took the mighty stone in his hand as though it was a pebble from the brook, and cast it to the side. And Jesus opened up his eyes and said, All hail the rising sun, the coming of the day of righteousness. And then he folded up his burial gown, his headbands and his coverings, and laid them all aside. He arose and for a moment stood beside the white robed form. The weaker soldiers fell to the ground and hid their faces in their hands. The stronger stood and watched. They saw the body of the Nazarene transmute. They saw it change from mortal to immortal form, and then it disappeared. The soldiers heard a voice from everywhere. Yeah, everywhere it said, Peace on earth, goodwill to men. They looked. The tomb was empty, and the Lord had risen as he said. The soldiers hastened to Jerusalem and to the priests and said, Behold, the Nazarene has risen as he said. The tomb is empty, and the body of the man is gone. We know not where it is. And then they told us about the wonders of the night. Caiaphas called a council of the Jews. He said, The news must not go forth that Jesus has risen from the dead. For if it does, all men will say he is Son of Allah, and all our testimonies will be proven false. And then they called the 100 soldiers in and said to them, You know not where the body of the Nazarene is resting. So if you will go forth and say that the disciples came and stole the body while you slept, each one of you shall receive a silver piece, and we will make it right with Pilate for breaking of the Roman seal. The soldiers did as they were paid to do. With that closing right there, I want to say, it's always going to be somebody paid to do something to make it appear like something else. And you have to have knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to discern judgment into that matter or that situation. Because if you don't have knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, then you're going to believe the lie. And as long as you believe the lie, you're going to be moved by a lie. Can you imagine believing in a lie and praising the Lord? And how that make you look? How you going to praise the Lord with your voice, but yet your mind is far away from the truth? Not only does it not comprehend, which will relieve you of being deaf, leave you of being dumb, okay? But you don't hear the truth when the truth is spoken, which doesn't relieve you from being deaf. You know what I'm saying? So you remain in a deaf, in a dumb state. You know what I'm saying? And you also blind because you fail to acknowledge the truth that you plainly see with your two eyes. You know? And not too often do people see with their two eyes. You know, because the things we see with our physical eyes are illusions. But yet they can lead you to the truth. Okay? They are some evidence that you do use. You know what I'm saying? To substantiate, you know what I'm saying, the truth. So with that being said, I also like to touch on the part of, let me see that again, pick up on that pure energy from it again, when it says, and Jesus opened up his eyes and said, all hail the rising sun, the coming of the day of righteousness. The coming of the day of righteousness. Man. Family, I'm going to put it like this. And as I always told my brothers, a lot of them didn't believe, and it was usually because they was unlearned, you know, unread, you know, not necessarily read enough, you know. What was I great go with that? I always told the brothers. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Coming of the day of righteousness. Okay, it was somewhere around you can be whatever you set your mind to. And the reason why I express that is because it's your belief that you have that doesn't allow you to accomplish what you will. You allow belief to linger in your mind without checking them, without verifying them. You allow feelings and emotions to move in you without checking them, without getting them under control, without figuring them out. How can the day of righteousness come when you ain't set yourself right? See, that's the beauty about the day of righteousness. You are setting yourself in righteousness. And that's why it's such a celebration, that day of righteousness. You know, when the sun arose, when you arose, when you decide to wake up, when you decide to change, when you decide to be your best self, when you decide to find out who you really are, when you decide that from this day forward, I'm going to seek the truth. Every day, I'm going to take time out and I'm going to seek some truth. Let me give y'all some outlets. Okay, listen very close. And the reason why you got to listen so close, because the things I'm saying might have an adverse effect on you. Because if you still consumed by falsehood, then truth, when it comes, you got to prepare yourself for the impact. Because it can make you feel a certain kind of way, trust me. You know what I'm saying? I know all too well. You know what I'm saying? Being outspoken and speaking the truth, and people respond to you speaking that truth, and you already know where it stems from. It's obvious. You wouldn't act like it before I said what I said. You You know what I'm saying? You know, so when the truth comes at you, you have to prepare for it. Okay? So the preparation is you tired of being tired. You know what I'm saying? The preparation is you setting it in your mind that I'm ready. I'm ready to be a better me. I'm ready to be a greater me. I'm ready to be the best me. I'm ready to be who I really am. I'm ready to find out who my ancient forefathers were so I can honor them and stand for what they stood for and have something to stand for so I won't be falling for everything that my enemy and oppressors, whether it's past, present, or future, you know what I'm saying, come at me. You have to be equipped. You got to get your sword. You got to get your shield. You got to get your breastplate. You got to get your helmet, if that's what they call it. You know what I'm saying? Your head guard. You know what I'm saying? You got to get on your steel toes. You know what I'm saying? Because we're not at war, but you may still be at war with yourself because you don't know the truth. You know what I'm saying? So you got to suit up and boot up and overcome your devil, overcome that lie. You know what I'm saying? Because in overcome that devil and that lie, you got to go through something. It's not an easy task. You know what I'm saying? It's like going through withdrawals from an addiction. You know what I'm saying? You're going to feel some things and they're not going to be comfortable. But guess what? It's worth going through because the reward is so great. You know what I'm saying? It's not even something to contemplate it. I'm in. Agreed. I'm ready. Let's do this. You know, what y'all waiting on? I was ready last year. You see what I'm saying? That kind of attitude, that kind of commitment, that kind of drive, that kind of energy, or close to it. You know what I'm saying? As long as it's going to get you where you going. Okay? So the day of righteousness, you know, is a new beginning. You know what I'm saying? Because you are deciding to do right over wrong. It's simple, but yet it is magnificent. It is a huge task. It is a great accomplishment. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a defeat for the devil. It is a defeat for the devil. And we've been on the devil's side for so long, it kind of like might be rubbing us a certain kind of way. You know what I'm saying? But if it's rubbing you a certain kind of way, acknowledge it. See, that's another thing, man. When you start to seek the truth and you run into different information, something, I'm just going to say it overcomes you. You know what I'm saying? Because something is awakened in you. And you get to experiencing life a little different. You know what I'm saying? Because it starts out a little. But yet it's huge because it has a great effect. You know, it's kind of like one of my juices that I make. I'm going to give that to you. Y'all can have that. I want y'all to have that. Oh, kale, spinach, carrot juice, organic, 1 or 2 bananas, and you might be able to throw a little honey in there. You might not need it. You might not need the honey because the banana, and it's delicious. And when you drink it, it's like you transform. I'm telling you, it's like, because it's like a boost of energy. It's like a refreshing feeling coming over you. You know? Oh man, it's wonderful. You know? But I done messed around in this last batch I made. I put some cayenne pepper in there. Which cayenne pepper is good too. But, ooh, it is strong. So I don't drink my drink as much. Because it is a power. That cayenne, it's kind of like as strong as like when you drink something strong, like some alcohol, and it make you back up off of it for however long. Yeah, that's what that cayenne pepper do, make you back up for however long. You know, so, but I'm going to drink something tonight, though. I've been drinking on no, that was a Arizona ginseng tea. But I've been drinking on my lemon and lime and ginger lemonade. Because it got honey in it too. I've been drinking on that cold. You know what I'm saying? But that's good for you. You know, it's got to a point where I told myself, I have this knowledge. I'm supposed to be doing this every day. You know, drinking some kind of herb or something healthy that's beneficial to my body. You know, why? Because it supports one's holiness, his divinity. You can't be divine and eating garbage. You know what I'm saying? Don't go together. You can't be divine and eat the pig. That don't go together. That's filth. You can't be divine and eat the catfish. You know what I'm saying? But however, if you have a means of discarding the waste from the food that you're eating, hey, because it's not going to interfere with your holiness. It's not going to interfere with your divinity. Why? Because you have knowledge to bring about a balance. That's why everything is not for everybody. It depends on what level of understanding you operating on. But we always want to dictate for other people. No, what's right for you is right for you. What's right for the next person is right for the next person. It can be different, and it is different in various degrees and manners, depending on the circumstances and the situation. Okay? And the thought. The thought is the cause of it all. You see what I'm saying? So, true enough, it could be a group of us that share the same concept and follow the same beliefs. But even in that group, we are individuals that have a different perception of the same thing. You know what I'm saying? You know, and just because we may say something different as far as using different words, it doesn't mean that at the end of the day we mean the same thing, because not all of us is as educated as others to be able to articulate ourselves, you know what I'm saying, properly. Okay? We speak the best we can, and sometimes our best just ain't good enough and we fail, but yet, you know, the objective is to live and learn. You know what I'm saying? Because some people are going to fake with you. Some people just don't want to deal with you. Your shortcomings or where you lack, because they don't have the patience. It's not personal. It's not against you. You know what I'm saying? It's just they don't possess what it takes to service you. You know what I'm saying? Or to give you what you need. You know what I'm saying? Where a brother like me, you know what I'm saying, I run into you need something, 9 out of 10, I'm going to have an answer for you. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be able to direct you in the right direction, you know, because I'm gifted like that. I'm cut like that. But everybody ain't cut like I'm cut. And I ain't cut like everybody else is cut, because some people cut tighter than me, you know. Well, I can learn a whole lot from them. You know what I'm saying? They can level me up, you know. That's why you always keep open mind and be willing to learn from any and everybody, because you never know when you run into that person that knows more than you. Because if you're not humble and you always running your mouth, then when they do come around, you don't give them no room to speak. So they end up listening and leaving without you even receiving anything, because you couldn't stop running your mouth. Some people like it. You know what I'm saying? You know, they just can't stop running it. Because some of them are competing. Some of them feel insufficient, like somebody's going to outshine them, so they take the floor and they don't want to give you no space because they don't want you to outshine them. You know, I never like to compete mentally with people, but I like to compete physically. Because we was brought up with competitive games, you know what I'm saying? And they became addictive, you know what I'm saying? So we might need to start creating a game where it's not more so in opposition, but it's us working together. You know what I'm saying? It creates a harmony, the game. You know what I'm saying? A game don't got to be where we got to kill each other, we got to fight each other. You know what I'm saying? We got to impose harm. What's godly about that? But it's something we accepted coming up with the children having games of this nature. You know, why did we open that door and allow our children to play with such evil? It's what it was. You see how we try to make evil right? You know what I'm saying? Just to fit in so it won't seem like our booty's too tight as a father, our booty's too tight as a mother. You know what I'm saying? Because we caught up in what other people going to think about us, what they going to say about us. No. At the end of the day, it's what's in the best interest of your child, and not just your child's well-being as far as the physical well-being, but you need to learn to start looking out for your child's soul. You got to learn how to save your child's soul. It means you got to start operating on a spiritual level. Because until you do, you can't save your child's soul. That's the greater responsibility that you haven't been fulfilling, and why you've been feeling lack, and that's why you pretend as hard as you do to hide how you feeling inside. And the devil wins, because it was just as easier to just admit, submit, bow down, succumb to the truth, and let everything to the light. And the Most High gonna take care of it, and you're gonna be smooth sailing in a better position than you was before. Problem gone, resolved. But see, we're not cut from that cloth. We're not cut from a cloth where people, as we was coming up, set examples where there was a problem, they came with solutions. 9 out of 10 times, if there was a problem, they bringing more problems. They making it triple times worse than what it started out to be. Because they was just as messed up in the head. They was pretending to be adults. Didn't know how to be an adult. Most of us have been in an undeveloped state. A lot of our generations have been in an undeveloped state when we had children, when we so-called became parents. Because we became parents at times that we weren't ready to be parents. But we had to accept the responsibility because we put in the work. And we got to accept the outcome, you know. But look at that. See how our children come in the world? Circumstances that we just got to accept. And really deep down, some parents wish they never had their children. Some parents wish they never had their children. The pain is so deep surrounding them coming into this world that they can't get past those circumstances. So if you can never get past those circumstances, you can never get past truly, genuinely, and uniquely loving your child. Because you can't let go of the impurity of it. Because technically, if it weren't for the circumstances surrounding them, they wouldn't be here. So if you resent going through them circumstances, which brought them into the world, you indirectly rejecting your child. But Don't be surprised about that. Because if we're immature and yet to be adults when we're having children, aren't we pretending to be adults? Raising a child? Did you, at that point of realizing you still immature, but yet in an adult situation, do you remember deciding to learn how to be more of an adult, to qualify for the position that you have unintentionally taken by bringing a child into this world? No, you don't remember doing that, do you? Because you didn't do it. So you remain immature and just pretended that you was an adult since you was in the position to take on a responsibility. But if you're not an adult, how can you effectively take on that responsibility? You can only take on a responsibility according to how you've been taught. Which all the teachings, I ain't gonna say all the teachings, majority of the teachings were inadequate. So they never got it right how to raise a child. And you know how I can quickly prove to you that it's never been done right? Because the old saying our ancestors used to say, it takes a village to raise a child. And tell me, how close are we as a village to raise each other's children? How dare you say something to my child? Who are you? You not her mother. Be ready to go in somebody's grill trying to correct their child. You know, we far away. You know what I'm saying? But we can be so close if we only open our eyes and accept what we see. When I say accept what we see, accept it for what it is and realize it for what it is, call it what it is, and then once you realize what it is, come up with that solution, fix it, and let's move forward. That's what we need to start doing, because that's how change comes about. See, we've been taught to look for change through other people that we think are in power or over us. Let me let you know something, fam. There is nobody over you. You might have been taught that somebody's over you, but that was a lie. That is illusion. And I know you can't imagine it, because that power is beyond your comprehension at this moment. You know what I'm saying? And I pray and hope one day that you get close to comprehending what that means and what that's like to be your own ruler, be your own sovereign. Woo! I can't tell you that you gonna ever learn that, because what I had to go through to get it. It can come easier for you. I don't know. It ain't my say so. It's really up to you. You know what I'm saying? It's really up to you. Because I would never limit you to having to go through what I went through. But because if you show and prove that you are a true seeker, man, I give you everything I got. Everything I know. I give you all my secrets and everything. But see, you don't give your pearls to swine. So you can't be swine and expect somebody to give you their pearls. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that. You only receive pearls when you are pearl. You know what I'm saying? And when you possess pearls. You know what I'm saying? Because when you possess pearls, you're going to attract more pearls. It's just like a divine attraction. Okay? And that's just how it works. And that's why a lot of times you don't know something or about something until you experience it. You know? That's like nobody knows what it's like to be dead. Okay? Physically. But a few of us, I ain't gonna say a lot, but it's enough of us that know about death here. This death. You know what I'm saying? Which leads to a physical death from here. See, it ain't the physical body necessarily dying that they talking about. They talking about the body of desires, or your desires for physical things, or desire to please your body, because the body is a very sensitive thing and it can enjoy pleasure beyond moderation. And we know we're not supposed to be functioning beyond moderation, because when you go beyond moderation, you are beyond righteousness and you go into the realm of evil. I know we ain't been taught that either. And by me saying it the way I said it, you can take it and relate it to what somebody else said, but it ain't what they were saying. You just connecting the two, because with your overstanding, you see that what I said, that's what they meant, just didn't express it in the same way to give off the same energy. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of time people lack clarity or depthness, you know what I'm saying, in what they speak on. The more you learn, the more in depth you can speak on it, and the more power behind your words. You see what I'm saying? Which I would think leads to you reaching more people. You know what I'm saying? And helping people free themselves from the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, or understanding that we share. Okay. With that being said, fam, that's what Allah has blessed me with on this holy day for all Muslims all over the world. It's been a very interesting day. It's been peaceful. It's been high vibrational. Haven't seen no sun. You know, walked in the rain. You know, had my umbrella and had a good time. You know, and I'm walking probably about, let's see, what's that? 18 and 4, 14 blocks. You know what I'm saying? Nice walk. One nice opportunity to get out, enjoy the weather, do something different. You know, I ain't started jogging yet, and I want to get back in jogging for the sake of, as a closure. Oh yeah, I gotta read Divine Warning. When I'm tripping, I'm gonna close out without the warning. But yeah, health advice, you know, is to walk. Okay, get out and walk. You know what I'm saying? Because you need to breathe outside air. It's not healthy to be in all day. We was never designed to live inside no closed space. Okay? No. It's important to get out and breathe in the air, the fresh air, instead of the artificial air from your AC or your fan. Okay? And get out to get some of that sun. Get out and get your legs moving so you have some mobility. You know what I'm saying? The more mobility, the more life. You know what I'm saying? You sit around too much without no activity, you die quicker. Because you telling your body, we don't need you no more. Because you're always sitting around, doing nothing. But if you tell your body, I need you, and you stay active, going to give you more energy to do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? It's just natural. But the source is you. It's your choice. And your choice is based on what you see and what you don't see, which is the reason why you need to seek more knowledge, wisdom, and understanding or understanding into whatever it is that you want to do. And whatever it is you want to do, in order to do that, you have to be right. So you study what you want to do, and you study yourself, because if yourself ain't right, then it ain't gonna be right to accomplish what it is that you're trying to do outside yourself. Okay? So, with that being said, family, keep love on your mind. Stay high vibrational. Stay open for change if that's what you want. And seek it. Don't let nobody get in your way. Because nobody's going to allow you to be at peace more than you. So at the end of the day, please yourself. Please yourself. But if you find yourself compelled to please someone else, don't let it be to your detriment. You know what I'm saying? And if it is to your detriment and you got in the habit of doing that, it's time that you get by yourself and figure out how you going to get out of that situation, because you done got yourself too deep to where I know it's hard for you to think your way out. You know? You feel stuck now. You don't know what to do. But you know what to do. And the best thing to do is run. Go. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the situation is, go. Go in the form that it will work out in the end, for the simple fact you get to go somewhere and be free to think until you can figure things out. And if that's the case, you can leave a note and say that to soothe out whoever you leaving behind. But the key is to free yourself. Once you get free, you can make all things right with others. But if everybody don't want to be right with you or make it right with you, you can't control that. So stop looking at how someone else is going to see it or how they going to feel. You know what I'm saying? It ain't about their feelings when it comes to you making the best decisions for your life. Because your life is not really attached to theirs. You know what I'm saying? It's just you give them power that they're not supposed to have. You give them a say-so in areas they're not supposed to have power in or influence. You know what I'm saying? So it's the reason why you back up and give yourself the freedom to think freely for your own benefit without being compelled to consider nobody else. You know what I'm saying? Until after you got you together. Then you can start focus on those who are important or most important. And then go down the line. You know what I'm saying? Some people you might not ever get to because they're not your responsibility. You know what I'm saying? You know, but whoever that resonated with, I hope that was helpful. I hope that somewhere in there you got more than what you already had as far as understanding, overstanding, understanding, you know, or just give you some type of direction. Okay, but with that being said, family, peace, love, and happiness. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I said this yet, but I pray and hope that my knowledge, wisdom, and understanding inspire, motivated, or encourage you in some form, fashion, or degree towards bringing about some type of change, elevation, or help you fulfill your purpose in life. You know what I'm saying? Because to fulfill your purpose in life, that's great, fam. That's great. And don't look for no accolades or nothing from nobody but the Most High, but your Creator. You know what I'm saying? Because the Creator and you are not going to let you down. Everybody else will let you down. But if theirs come, let it be extra. Let it be extra. Don't look for theirs. You know what I'm saying? You know, all let it be extra. Because you know, you didn't let yourself down too many other times. Expectations in other people, and they don't show up. They don't show out. You know what I'm saying? They don't do what they say they're going to do. You know, and then you sad again. Stop giving people your power. Plain and simple. I still ain't read Divine One. Divine One about the Prophet Noble Ali. Prophet warns all Muslims ordered to read proclamation at each meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical, agitating speeches while at work in their homes on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards to Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be a severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple of the prophet or violate divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive the reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by the prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn their card and button, cease wearing the turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Nabi Ali, and if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet in the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways by order of Prophet Nabi Ali. See, we open up with acknowledging the mission of redeeming the people from their sinful ways, and we close with acknowledging our mission to redeem our people from their sinful ways. With that being said, meeting is adjourned. That's what Allah has blessed me with. Peace, love, and happiness to you, family. Y'all have a great rest of y'all Friday, and keep love on your mind, because love is the savior of the world. You know what I'm saying? And as long as you open up the love, you're going to have the heart that you need to accept that truth. And that truth is going to set you free. And when you get set free, family, it's going to be so much peace. You know what I'm saying? And you're going to receive all that the Most High wants you to receive. All the rewards, the gifts, the abundance. Fam, if you only believe. You know what I'm saying? Peace, fam. Y'all have a great one.